Welcome, welcome, everyone. So grateful that you could be here live. Yay. So this is the Aquarius Gate of Power. We are at the midpoint between winter and spring. So the other reason I thought that was a good one, because we do use it sometimes on Yeye's calls for the full moon when we give it to the fire. And this is purification and transformation that we're going to do through water and fire for the next 6 weeks. We're going to sort of cleanse and clear and purify and prepare for new life to come in, for new activities, for new commitments, for new projects and things like that. So the midpoint is the best check-in moment, the best course correcting time for the season to see how what you were conceiving at winter is going to come to life by spring, grow stronger by the May Gate of Power, which will be the next one, and full blossom by summer solstice. So let's start with the seasonal rhythm. I think that's a good place to start while folks are still coming in. We have winter, spring, summer, fall, which is always about movement and choices and actions and decisions. So I've tried to teach you all and get you in the rhythm of paying attention to the month before the turn of the wheel and the month after. The month before is always Gemini, Sag, and Virgo, Pisces, which are the processing times and signs and areas of life where we do our mental, physical, emotional, and spiritual processing. So if we do proper processing first, then those choices and decisions and movements go a lot better and a lot smoother. And then the month after the turn of the wheel, which is where we are now, we had winter solstice, and now this is the first click to Leo, Aquarius, and Taurus, Scorpio are the fixed signs. So here, after we've made choices and decisions, now it's time to either anchor something permanently or release something permanently based on the choices or changes and things you've been through, which is another reason I like that song, because this is the season of change. That's why we say purification. We want to give something up for the greater good, for the value of what you are birthing next, right? And sometimes to have new things, new life to come to being, we have to make certain sacrifices. And so the rhythm becomes process, choose, anchor, or release based on your choices. Process, choose, anchor, or release. Then you just have to feel into what time is it? Is it time to be processing? Is it time to be choosing and making moves? Or is it time to be anchoring or releasing? And this is an anchor or release season, okay? This is a cross quarter. It's called many things. All cultures have their seasonal shift in the wheel that they follow, and it's all part of what we're wired for. That's the other reason I like to work with the elements and the seasons, because we already naturally know most of this. So we're at the second sacred season, inviting the renewal of light. That's what we're trying to do, is activate some inspiration, awaken something. Remember, Uranus is the ruler of Aquarius. So we want to change something, upgrade something, and pay attention to what we're doing so that we don't get stuck in a rut, doing the same thing the same way over and over and then expecting different results, right? So now we invite the light. The light is returning. The days will start to get longer. The nights will start to get shorter. This is the season that you commit to the process of nurturing your intentions that you set at winter solstice. Like I said, whatever you conceived, it should be bubbling by now, right? There should be what we say. The other thing in agriculture is this thin membrane between seed and new life. So that's where we are. Winter solstice was the seed. We're at the in-between, and the new life comes in spring. And so we're checking in now to see what needs to be anchored or released so that our spring can kick off correctly. Now, in order to create a new, like I said, sacrifices and changes must be made. This time of year usually coincides with several celebrations when many cultures give something cherished up in order to, or an effort to cleanse and clear space for renewed growth, whether that's within your being or your environment, all of the above. We love it all. This is about clearing space for the new. You should prepare as if it has already arrived. That's our practice for manifesting, is acting like it's already here, it's already done. This season will culminate in August with the Leo cross quarter. So that's the other thing. We go into Aquarius to connect with our unique contribution so that by Leo time in August, it's full on display, right? We're blossoming, we're full blossom, and we're sharing our light and our specialty or our special gifts and whatever you want to call it, your unique contribution. You'll be ready to share it by August. But right now we're just seeding and conceiving it, right? So what are you willing to give up to further your goals? And what are you willing to fight to preserve within and around you? Because anything strong that's connected to your authentic self or your unique contribution is what we're holding on to, building on. Also, what are relationships are you willing to commit to and cultivate this year? You know, what's coming up? Cross quarters are always considered the gates of power. So the other thing about winter, spring, summer, fall being very solar and active and out there, you're doing things with other people. It's self versus other and home versus work. There's a lot of activity, right? So we look at the gates of power as more lunar, where we pull inward at this midpoint to go within and strengthen and fortify so that we can be ready for spring when it does come. So this is our purification time. Again, you can use fire or water. You're transforming something or you're cleansing something or doing both, right? So we say this season is about a time of change, new hopes and dreams, broaden your vision. So whatever you were thinking, expand it. Your definition of freedom. Now that's another thing while we're thinking about and mulling around commitments. After Capricorn commitments comes Aquarius. Now, how much can I commit to and stay free or stay sovereign? Independence and leadership are coming up again as you cultivate your unique contribution this year. The new beginning and clean slate, always when we get together at the turn of the wheel. We're healing all self-love and self-worth, self-value issues here. Acknowledging the turning point. It may be time to inspire a new look or how you're going to present yourself this year. And, you know, some of us, it might take the whole 6 months to get it right, but you'll be presenting something new by the end of this year. And that's going to be confirmed and validated by the other planets later too. So come this fall, it's a new day, y'all, for real. Using the sacred season to rest, replenish, and ruminate because we are still technically in this hemisphere in winter. So that's where we are incubating, or let's say inviting the inspiration for new creativity, new projects and things. Or you look at old projects that maybe didn't work 1 year ago or 3, 6, 9, 12 years ago, the different cycles that are up and can sometimes circle back and allow you to be supported in a way that is new, because we definitely have some new energy this spring, right? Which is where we go from the seasonal overview to the Sky Council. So the chart is our Sky Council, and we have a ridiculous Aquarius party, huge. We have 6 planets in Aquarius. For our February 3rd was technically the date. So yeah, I've been in the oh yeah zone all month already and celebrating this change and these upgrades. But it's all happening in the chart for the 7th and 8th house. So our relationships, partnerships, and collaborations, how we share resources and do intimacy, which is usually tied to sex and money in various ways. How we do all that is changing. There's an evolution and a revolution going on. Pluto and Mars are together, which is higher will, lower will, aligning for a renewal that they're going to do every 2 years for the next 20 years in Aquarius. So we get this upgrade with who we are and what we want, again, to go narrow and deep on that unique contribution, I think. I think that's what it's going to help us do as we navigate. It's going to help us determine how much freedom we need and how much togetherness we need, and what's that balance and calibration, and how does it work. And then the head and heart alignment is all Leo Aquarius and how we're always working with them. But the transformation is happening in the partnership house, which means even though the chart is ruled by Cancer, that Leo energy across from Mars and Pluto is in the 1st house. So you are seeing some aspect of self very clearly, maybe for the first time, maybe just recently, that it's starting to become more and more clear about what your purpose and unique contribution might be. But you have to stay in that Leo zone, and that part, Cancer Leo on the 1st house, means self-care and self-love are at the top of the list. If you're okay, your partnerships will be okay. So you work on you. So this is the era, definitely Leo Aquarius, is when you change, everyone around you will change or go away. That's how that works. If you're raising your frequency, which is very Aquarius too, you know, we're going to be in that Uranus electrical zone. Watch your energy. Be mindful of your magnetic field and what you're naturally magnetizing and naturally repelling, because that's up for renewal as well. So 7th and 8th house. Now, Vesta, what is sacred to you, the individual? Sun, obviously, is there. That's our marker for tonight's whole thing. Is there near Venus and Mercury. So our values, our priorities, what's important to us around love and our money, and how we think in these creative ideas. So again, thinking outside the box is going to be all part of that. But this is powerful, sacred, balanced masculine, feminine energy, which I like, allowing you to draw on both sides of yourself, right? So your creative, nurturing container side and that active, fiery, principle kind of masculine side that gets things done or changes things or makes those choices and decisions, which right now we're looking at all through the lens, like we said, of you, the individual, and your self-love and self-worth. Now, the Pisces energy is still very strong, but it's wrapping up. And we have Palace, which is only there every 4 to 5 years, is completing something. So with Palace, it's your healing capacity and your unique genius again, how you access, let's say, that unique genius, that part of you, that unique part of you, and the lens that you kind of look through. Now, in Pisces, the lens is always through our sensitivity and our feelings and emotions and things. So lately, we've been garnering the most wisdom from working with that Saturn and Neptune, finishing up in Pisces, connecting to our spirit team, listening to our intuition, going with the flow, things like that. All of that Pisces energy has been dissolving old crusty stuff, which we like, but it's also taking away things we may have been attached to as well, because Pisces is the culmination. And with the North Node actually moves backwards. So it's going to go from Pisces to Aquarius by the end of this year, which is the other reason our gate is so powerful, because in 2 weeks, we're going to have the first Aquarius eclipse out of 5. We're going to have 5 total in Leo Aquarius. It kicks off with the new moon solar eclipse in 2 weeks. So that's that's bigger than annual reset. Let's say that. It's a 10 and 20 year reset. The full cycle is 20 years. So we're looking at 2018 and 19 and 08 to 09, the last time we had Leo Aquarius eclipses. So this is a huge part of the change that's going to be going on as well throughout the year. And we're still in Pisces Virgo. So we're still dealing with our body and spirit needs, let's say, and balances and things. But as that gets anchored, we're going to shift to this Leo Aquarius where we can share our contribution or share our light in new ways, right? So this is all preparation and practice for that. Saturn, like I said, is at the very last degrees. It is this month. We're going to get to that in a minute with the activations. It's going to finally move into Aries, and that's a wrap. 30 years, a whole new 30-year reality and purpose can be initiated as we speak, and is being initiated on multiple levels, right? So individually, socially, collectively, we have access to this new cycle. And so you want to look back to the late 90s. 96 to 99 was the last time that Saturn was in Aries. And so how did that go for those of you old enough to remember? How did that go for you? And what kind of reality and purpose kicked off? How did you redefine your terms or take responsibility or take on some leadership role or new roles and responsibilities that may have run their course by now? And if you're paying attention to Saturn, it moves in 7-year increments. So we pay attention to the 7 with Saturn. Now, the Aries party is Neptune, Sirius, and Chiron. So we have healing and nurturing and making ourselves whole. Again, there's so much focus on this one about you, the individual. And for those joining me for the crafts night, this is the energy going into our craft making, because we're making a talisman that's going to walk with us throughout the year. And it has to really support you, the individual, your unique self, your authentic self, that part of you that you've come to share and do in new ways this year. So that party is really supported if you're listening to your intuition, if you're listening to your body and moving and doing things that you need to do for that Aries athlete in you, and also allowing that downtime to process what's happened in the last 3 years of Saturn and Pisces. That was a lot of processing. And a lot of times when we're in it and we're processing, you don't really know what's what. But now that it's getting past Pisces into Aries, there's going to be so many things that are going to present themselves as clearly done and washed away, and you don't even have to look back. It's wonderful. I love it. But that's Aries energy is all 10th house as well. So something about your connection to your unique contribution and how you're going to share that in a new way this year is going to be seen if you choose to be seen, you know? So it's at anything at the top of the chart, everyone's watching. And so it's going to expand your reach if you can be yourself and stick to the things that you want to stick to along the way, and not sacrifice yourself or your freedom to be parts of different communities or in different relationships and things like that. They're changing. The way we do all of that is changing. So you want to get in on defining those terms and think about what your purpose for the year is going to be. Because I think with Neptune there, we can be dreaming up the new purpose and really nurturing and feeding it, making sure with Chiron there that we're getting all the wisdom out of our painful experiences this year. You know, in the last year, we've gone through whatever we've gone through and processed what we could. Now, how is that going to support that feeding and nourishing and honoring you, the individual? And again, the culture can have you so other directed that it may sound like I'm saying this too much, but sometimes I got to pound on you to remind you that you matter and that your needs matter, and standing up for yourself and speaking up for yourself is part of what this gate, in the moments we're going to look inward and play with the cards and do all that fun stuff. It's all going to be special messages that only you will understand. Let's put it that way. Uranus and Taurus is also finishing up its party, but it's falling in the 11th house. So here again, we might be changing communities, or where we dedicate our energy, or how we channel our creativity in groups is evolving. So looking at with Uranus and Taurus, we're coming out of about 7 years of rewiring the body so that it could handle the next 7 years of Uranus and Gemini and all this electrical, technological energy and information age that we're also walking through. So we had to change some things around how we do our body so that we can handle these higher frequencies, and the rate of things speeding up so much faster. You know, earth and water are slower, air and fire is faster. And we're moving into more fast change. Like as soon as we say it's done, it's done. As soon as we say we're manifesting, it's usually manifested pretty quickly. So when you're connected, that's going to get to be a superpower. Jupiter and Cancer on that rising, still that dedication to you, telling the next level story from your lineage and things like that, how you're evolving the story from your maternal and paternal lines. That's all up for this year. And part of that also is getting you in touch with your own personal needs so that you're upgrading how you do that. Because when Jupiter hits Leo at the end of this year, well, middle of this year, May, June, it's going to hit Leo. And we're going to want to shine, and we're going to want to play, and we're going to want to be with people in ways that maybe we haven't really wanted to for the last year or so, just because we've been processing and going through so much. And no one is exempt. Everybody's going through something, right? So let's think about and look at that Jupiter on the rising as a big expanding the focus again on you, the individual. That's what the first house is. It's you. So we're telling a whole new story that is going to be your legacy. How you move through this year and set the tone over the next 3 to 7. That's going to support these bigger 30 and 50-year cycles that we're going through. And the moon and south node are exact degrees, 9 degrees. Oh, yeah, it's so present, y'all. I can't even tell you. In the 3rd house of how you think and how you process and how you communicate and express yourself. So again, with Virgo, we're healing, we're making whole, we're getting self-mastery, we're getting good at something. You know, we're perfecting a skill on some level where you're connecting your emotions and your thoughts and processing what you need to process, and then hopefully making good decisions out of allowing both of those parts of yourself to speak, right? So let's think about that. The challenge of the South Node in Virgo is falling into old habits, thinking if it's not perfect, it's not good enough. If I can't do it this way, I'm not going to do it at all. Those all or nothing tendencies show up with our earth signs. And so let's just check in there. If Kimberly was here, she'd be talking about them 9s, I know. But that's our Sky Council. There's the evolution of your thinking and how you present yourself, standing on your unique contribution and your authentic self as you evolve the story you're telling. So that is the Sky pattern. All right, now we're going to get into the energetic support, activations and alignments. Then we have our seasonal reading, and we have our divinations guidance, which I got to tell you, I've been missing my women who run with the wolves. So she came back up, and that's pretty juicy too for our guidance. The energetic support is for February 1st to March 20th. That's our spring equinox. So that's approximately 6 weeks is about how long each turn of our wheel is. So we're looking at the Leo Aquarius lunation and the Virgo Pisces lunation. Both include eclipses, y'all. So the thing about the moon is it rules our day-to-day rhythms and how we feel and our moods and things. So we pay attention, and each month and each year and every 6 months and every year, and then it broadens out to every 9 and 18 years. The moon is moving us in our own patterns, right? These are our personal patterns with the moon. Leo Aquarius every year brings up how you present yourself and how you're tending to your unique contribution and what your freedom needs might be. But like I said, now with the eclipses there, we're looking at 10 and 20-year cycles. So think about that. Also, because the new moon solar eclipse is the kickoff on the 17th, that is really I mean, over the next 2 years, you'll be balancing out that new beginning, right? We say it's a new beginning. It can be on the 17th, but it's going to take some time. Eclipses have this energy where you see the result, you start to see what was happening or what pattern changed 6 months later, a year later, like I said, the 9 and 18 years. So think about how you've done with that, the self-love and self-care and the cycles of that, where sometimes we give it more focus than others. How's that been going, and how have you been presenting yourself, and how is that changing? And allowing you to be more of yourself and feel more comfortable in your own skin and safe and sound around your people and all that. Then March 3rd and March 18th, respectively, we have the Virgo full moon lunar eclipse. Now, this is only number 3 of 7, which means we have 2 more eclipses in Virgo Pisces than we do in Leo Aquarius. So don't get it twisted. We are still very much in that body spirit recalibration going on for the next year or two. That is a culmination in your Virgo zone. That's a completion in your Virgo department. And so we're looking at what have you made whole? What have you completed? What have you integrated in terms of wisdom and understanding, but also experience and self-mastery and the things that we've been doing for the last, like I said, 1, 3, 6, 9, 12 years. How's that been going? And how's the eclipse energy been affecting you in the last year since they've been kicking? Because we've been in the Virgo Pisces eclipses already. And I do have replays for that. And we'll be doing the call for the Leo Aquarius eclipses, I think, in August. I want to say August 20th, but check the calendar. So the lunar energy is moving from our Aquarius to Pisces zone. That's also the end of the zodiac. And this is a culmination on the cusp of ending new beginning that we do every year, right? But it's bigger because of those eclipses. So let's look at what ends up happening when we get to that connection to our freedom and everything else. Then hopefully Pisces will activate creativity and a sense of womb development, where we take all these ideas that we're thinking about with Leo Aquarius energy, and when we get to Virgo Pisces energy, we see how we can actually manifest or support or do the little things that let the big dream work, or take the everyday steps that allow the big goal to be manifested by the end of the year, things like that. So Virgo's the little things, Pisces is the whole thing. And so we connect, again, every year we have this ending new beginning vibe that we're in right now. Mercury is preparing for its first retrograde of the year in Pisces as of February 6th. Yesterday, it moved into Pisces. It's going to retrograde on the 26th, go direct on Equinox on March 20th, and it's going to hit Aries April 14th. So for all of February and all of March and 2 weeks of April, this is where Mercury is. So if Mercury's in Pisces, again, we're doing these deep, soulful processes, and we're completing things and letting go of things. Like we're done with so much. And by the same token, it's super creative. So it may be that womb development creative thing with your ideas, but you'll be developing them backstage. You won't be ready to share them until April, May. So think about that development of your own mind and consciousness and following your intuition and things like that. And anytime Mercury's in a water sign, we think with our feelings. So what do you feel and what do you think, and put them together to make your choices and decisions. But know that Mercury in Pisces is like the deep end of the ocean. So technology and, like it's already weird when Mercury goes backwards in any sign, but just think that how Pisces can be. So the closest illustration I can give you is like when we put our heads underwater, and you can still hear and you can feel and you can sense all this energy and stuff, things going on around you, but you don't know which direction they're coming from. You don't know what their source is. You don't know how long they're going to last. So that's kind of how we're going to feel. So ease and grace for February, March, because as Saturn hits Aries and then Neptune hits Aries and all this fiery energy hits May, June, and then Jupiter hits Leo, which is fire, there's going to be all this fire by April, May, June. So we want to enjoy the water for the moment and going with the flow and allowing things to unfold according to your higher self or to spirit or God or source of your understanding, because that's also what time it is when Mercury's there. Nothing is logical or linear. So everything is based on your senses or your feelings and things like that. So let's know that that's also a processing sign. Remember, I said Gemini, Sag, and Virgo, Pisces are processing signs. So we're actually processing certain emotions around how we feel, maybe about the last year and how it's unfolded, or the last cycle, or wherever your focus is at this time. But take some time outs in nature, get some rest, time out with some movies, do some escape things that are not obligatory, that don't have anything to do with money and things like that. And just sort of time out this month and next, when and where you can, as often as you can, right? Venus is also in Pisces. She's neck and neck with Mercury and the Sun, because she's in what we call the underworld right now and about to birth and come back out as the evening star. So Pisces, February 10th to March 6th, and then Aries, March 6th to March 30th. So by the time we get to equinox, she'll be well into Aries. So this Pisces Aries cusp for Venus, I got to put the plug in for the Venus circle, because this is the cycle where she retrograded on the Pisces Aries cusp. So this is a year later, after the Venus retrograde and reset on your Pisces Aries cusp, has been huge. And we all claimed that, let's say, as a new identity and purpose, but also on learning to follow our intuition on our identity and purpose, right? And on the choices and decisions that we make and the moves that we make in the world. So she's back to that same zone. And this is usually, to me, it's like a graduation. You get to see how much you changed, how much you mastered, what you recognized about your love and money that needed an upgrade on the Pisces Aries zone, that a year later, you're strong. And we're going into reclamation. Anyone that missed it, you can still get the reading in the custom guide. That'll carry you for 9 months. But we're going into that, the crown chakras at Pisces this month. We're going to start coming down from the crown to the root, because we want something in form. And whether you join us or not, think about what you want in form by September. So you're going to have like basically March to September with this new fiery energy on the heels of all this womb development, consciousness, conception that we're conceiving, the new life, the new purpose, the new direction, whatever it may be that you're conceiving at this time. Venus is there to support it. She helps you stay locked in on what's important to you. So this run through Pisces is probably going to give her one last shot with Saturn. Let's see. We'll talk about those with the activations and alignments. I think I went through everybody there. So with Venus, which is our feminine, receptive, what we care about, what we're attracted to, all of that, again, with Pisces Aries being the ending, new beginning, there's probably some upgrades going on there too, at least to the tune of the last year, and how you've evolved and what you care about in those particular areas of life. Now, Mars, like I said, in Aquarius as of January 23rd. So it's well into it right now. It's going to be there until March 2nd when it hits Pisces. So when we have our spring equinox, it'll be in Pisces, but it hits Aries April 9th. So for this season, we want to think about Mars being in Aquarius Pisces. So Mars is a little behind Venus right now, where she's ahead in Pisces Aries. Mars is still finishing things up and diving into how we can stay free and still move the way we want to move, because Mars rules how we move. Pisces would be the completion and surrender part. But again, there's still going to be a Mercury retrograde. So Mars's actions are going to be very limited in Pisces. At that point, it's going to be more about sensing right timing and things happening organically or synchronistically, right? That's what we want to look for the most, is the synchronicities when Mars is in Pisces. You feel, you intuit, and then you make your move when you're sure that that's what you want. But sometimes Pisces can make us unsure. So you want to wait until it's totally clear, or a sign from God, or however you work with your Pisces energy, right? Jupiter's still retrograde, so we're still editing that story we were talking about, which is you carrying on your lineage and breaking the cycle and the pattern. I suspect if you're here, you're the one in your family breaking the negative patterns of your lineage. So Jupiter's really helping with that. And also to expand our vision on what's possible, so that we can take our ancestors' gifts and talents and strengths and fortitude and channel that into what we need at this time. It goes direct on March 10th, so it'll be finishing up by the time we hit equinox. So this is still a good time to incubate that story. Remember earlier I said North Node, your life path and direction is going to shift from Pisces to Aquarius. It happens July 26th. Of 2026, which is pretty magical timing for sacred shifts. And that's going to be a pretty sacred shift, let's say. Saturn hits Aries on February 13th, so just maybe a week from now. And like I said, done, done, done. Now, the alignments are kind of important. While Mercury's retrograde, it's going to connect with Jupiter which is wonderful because, again, we're trying to expand our thinking and expand our story. It's going to connect with an initiation with Venus in Aquarius and Pisces. So Mercury's going to link up with Venus twice. That's the other way that we're tapping into that unique contribution and then the completion of the year and preparation to birth something new. I like that they're neck and neck like that. And then it's also, when Mercury connects with the sun, March 7th, that's our new cycle for the quarter. Basically, Mercury moves in a little quarterly energy. Ultimately, it connects with Mars. So again, if you can do the processing, if you can do the, let's say, review of your creativity and your ideas and your thinking and go deeper on some of those things to bring out more imagination and more creativity and more of your unique essence that you want to share with other people, when it hits Mars, by the end of this, you should be able to make some moves or launch something or things like that. Start sharing your ideas with other people. But while it's retrograde, don't do that. Just develop and work behind the scenes. Venus in Pisces is also going to touch Jupiter in Cancer, that trine in the water signs. So all this is ease and grace and new beginnings. Let me say that too. The challenges don't come till Mars. So Mercury's chilling, Venus is chilling, but there is energy for change with our relationships and finances, that we have an opportunity if we're willing to change something. And we have a new beginning or an initiation of a new dream, let's say, an opportunity to develop. We're basically starting the new dream and the new reality. That's Saturn and Neptune in Aries. And while she's in Aries, remember I said with Mercury at the end of its retrograde, it'll be March 15th when it links up with Mars. At the end of this Venus little journey through Pisces into Aries, she's going to connect with Pluto on March 10th. That is, again, where you might rebirth something that you value and that you care about, because that's Venus's domain. Now, Mars' challenge is being in Aquarius, squaring off with Uranus and Taurus. So it's asking that we absolutely have to change something about our identity and purpose, about our choices and decisions and how we move through the world that way. And if we can do that, we can access, I think, more of our creature comforts and have our personal needs met in a better way if we can be honest about what our needs are, or honest about who we are and what we want, and make some changes. That would be good. And if we make those changes, as we make those changes, Mars shifts into Pisces, and then it's a trine to Jupiter in Cancer. So we'll have that ease and grace of the potentials and the possibilities and the expansion that Jupiter brings if we make the changes, if we do what we're supposed to do for our body and our mind. There's a lot of body-mind stuff going on, not just with Leo Aquarius, but also Uranus and Taurus, Mars and Aquarius. That's all mind-body connection stuff. So we're rewiring that connection as we speak so that we can function better, so that we can be stronger with our imaginations and creativity in this new year. Because of the big one is February 20th. If you don't do nothing else, at least do that day. Say a little prayer, write out a petition or an intention for your new dream and your new reality, because that is the day that Saturn and Neptune meet at 0 Aries. I have a huge write-up on my blog. You all can find that in the forecast and stuff. This is 30 years. This is 165 years. And then it's bigger. It's more like it's hundreds of years. The last time I think this happened was 1703. So the last time in Aries was even further back, so we're looking at 0 Aries being a world point. But you know me, I want to gear everything that I talk about here to you, the individual. So looking at what you're going to set in motion and how you're going to set it in motion. And then remembering with Neptune there, in this world today, you kind of need a cover. You need protection as you move through the internet realms, the public realms, realms of community, and where multiple people get together, that's multiple energies to deal with. So Neptune in Aries is the spiritual warrior, but that's where we use our invisible knowledge and wisdom and power and understanding to affect our visible world. We don't go at it in the visible world. So my example for this is like in the old days, we would march and protest in person. And the whole deal was to be in person and show them that this many people care. But you go in person now and they're just going to shoot you or blow you up. They don't care. So I'm not doing no stand-up protesting. I'm going to protest with my money and where I spend it. I'm going to protest in other ways. I'm going to withdraw my complicity. I'm going to change my ways, right? And do things a different way if I feel like that system is too toxic. And so our boundaries are so critical right now, but we have to manage them. Nobody else is going to do that. So let's pay attention to what we're birthing, but also protect yourself everywhere you go. Activate those shields, whether you're in a one-on-one situation or a community situation. It's time to really protect yourself energetically, mentally, spiritually, physically, emotional protection. Boundaries and protections are going to be the way that you can stay free. If you understand what you're doing and where you are and what's happening, then you can move a little bit more freely. If you're confined and feeling constricted and blocked, then it doesn't feel like you can move as freely as you would like. And so that's it for our activations and alignments. I'm so glad to see everyone. Thank you for being here live, y'all. All right, y'all. Be well. You know you are loved, and I'm very grateful.